Again, depending upon the business, what you do kind of varies around, but that's the general idea. One thing important about angel investors, they typically do not get involved in management. In management of the business. And if you're an angel investor, you actually want to invest in a lot of different small businesses, because if one of them fails, or if 9 of them fails, the 10th is going to succeed beyond your dreams, and you're going to end up making a lot of money from it. And typically the second stage is venture capital stage. And by the way, angel investors may be the only type available. For small businesses. The only type of private financing available. You guys may or may not know which we're going to talk about. For small businesses, there are always options for loans from Small Business Administration. Which is SBA. Or loans backed by SBA. You should always research what's available in your area. SBA doesn't necessarily lend it itself, but by law, a lot of banks have kind of a non-binding mandate to make small business loans, if for nothing, for customer relation purposes. And in many cases, Small Business Administration actually backs those loans. Not necessarily fully, but they do back those loans. So if you're going to be a business that's not going to have more than $1 million revenue a year ever, you're not going to get to venture capital stage. I mean, that may have been an option 20, 30 years ago. Right now, to even talk to venture capital people, at least in your wildest dreams, you should be reaching $100 million sales sometime in the future. So the laundry for undergraduates or cleaning for undergraduates is not going to make it to venture capital. On the other hand, the volleyball league may, or volleyball team may, because it's a different kind of business. Typically available for tech-heavy products. Such as software, internet services, or new manufacturing. Think about Tesla 20 years ago. That would have been, company that would have qualified for venture capital stage. I shouldn't say qualify, but where the venture capital firms would actually be interested in a company like Tesla. So it doesn't have to be software, but technology typically somehow is involved. There should be some sort of innovation, and that innovation actually creates some sort of quasi-monopoly. If you start a new business where your product is essentially a commodity, you may have an advantage. Maybe you're going to do it better than other people. Venture capital is not going to be interested in that because they want to get into businesses where potential upside is 1 to 10, 1 to 100, and downside is losing everything. But these guys invest into hundreds of such ventures. So if 5 out of 100 actually reach to those stellar stages, they make a lot of money. They assume going in failure rate is high. Venture capital firms almost always invest in equity and or options at stages. And most importantly, they take an active role, they may take, in management of the company. Think about when Google started. Any of you guys know when Google started? Let's find out. History of Google Inc. (1998). At that time, they were 2 PhD students in Stanford, in computer science, of course. Right now they own about 14% of the company, but they control 56%. Let's see who financed them first. Let's see. Who were the first financiers of Google? Okay. See, it was funded by 100,000 investments from this guy, Andy Bechtolsheim, a co-founder of Sun Microsystems. It was motivation to incorporate the company to be able to use the funds. That is an example of an angel investor. 100,000 is a lot of angels, but the guy is pretty rich. Who else? Here's an example. In 1998, Yahoo had a chance to buy Google for just $1 million. They turned it down, dismissing the potential of the search engine. So let's go back to our original search. First venture capital, funders of Google. Okay, in June '99, they did a $25 million funding. But in the meantime, I remember late 98, early 99, I was using Google as a search engine. It was kind of a novelty. You used it only if you knew about it. That meant they kind of had the proof of concept. They showed that they can get the late hits. So they were able to get $25 million of funding. Back in 98, that was a lot of money. And venture capital firms, Kleiner Perkins and Sequoia Capital, and in 2003 they did IPO. But the only reason they were able to get additional funding from venture capital firms, they showed that there was a potential. In fact, it was working much better than Yahoo's search engine. So competition actually wasn't that good. And you also have private equity investment. This typically follows venture capital stage. Not always, but private equity companies are companies that typically investment funds that invest into non-public companies. These are investment funds that invest in corporations that are not public yet.